Tonight, in this newscast, a girl molested and taken to custody at Pika Katos, here in the economic capital Douala, for indecent dressing. And also in this newscast, the Supreme Court in 5 minutes turns down the appeal of Michelle Teria Tangana and that of Titus Edzwa. Plus, how can security be better guaranteed in all the 10 regions across the country, especially during this festive period? Cameroon's 10 governors are deliberating on the subject. Good evening to you once again, viewers. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away in the center region of Cameroon. The Supreme Court in Yaoundé today rejected the appeal of Michelle Teria Tangana and that of Titus Edzwa. It took just 5 minutes for the Supreme Court to hand down the verdict. And the Defense Counsel Barrister Chungang has vowed that the struggle to release the 2 prisoners would continue. Our Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland Akong tells us more.
No freedom for Michelle Teria Tangana and Titus Edzwa. The Supreme Court in Yaoundé Tuesday rejected their case files challenging a verdict of the Mfundi High Court. The verdict of the Mfundi High Court last October 4, 2012 sentenced both men to an additional 20 years in prison for virtually the same crimes they had already served 15 years. They are accused of embezzling state funds destined for the organization of the 1996 OAU Summit in Yaoundé and money for the construction of some roads in the south and central regions. Reacting to the verdict of the Supreme Court, Barrister Chungang, the defense counsel, said the battle for the release of Michelle Teria Tangana continues. This time around, the defense intends to use another approach, summing the 2 sentences, both 15 and 20 years in prison, to a single sentence.
Roland Akong ending that report in the center region of Cameroon. We stay with you, Roland, this time around to talk about Cameroon's 10 regional governors that today began converging in that part of the country to seek ways of tackling security challenges during and after this festive period. The biannual event, to last for 3 days, would also map ways of ensuring that food prices are regulated across the country. Roland Akong tells us more.
At this Yaoundé meeting, governors of the 10 regions of Cameroon are receiving instructions from their boss, the Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization.
You know that we are going towards the end of the year, and which means a lot of activity, and we think that with that activities, we will certainly also have security problems, and as usual, our key role is to take due measures so that the country remain safe and our people could enjoy the feast of the end of the year very calm and with tranquility.
The second semester meeting of the governors of the 10 regions of Cameroon is taking place amidst tension on the border in the east with the Central African Republic and amidst the kidnap of a French priest in the far north region of Cameroon.
All the measures appropriate to be taken at the different borders so that our country could be safe and prevent our population from all the consequences of this unstabilized situation, either in the border with Nigeria or in the border with Central Africa.
It was during the biannual meeting of the 10 regional governors of the country that is being supervised by the Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization that Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland Akong caught up with the governor of the East region, Samuel Dieudonné Iva Adibois, and sought to find out from him about the security situation in the East region of Cameroon. This is what he had to say.
So I'm just stating that for the feasts that are coming, Christmas Eve and Happy New Year, we have already taken the other measures within our meeting, security meeting, in the 5th to the 6th December 2013. And we can say that today our region is well secured, and we are also appealing the population of the East region to help us to give the good information at any time. You know that many people are in that area just giving some information that are not the good one, and the other have the aim. But I'm saying that we are there to help the population to be secured. The policemen, gendarmes, the military people are here, and the head of state also is surveying this problem.
That's the governor of the East region, Dieudonné Iva Dibois, that has so far suffered series of attacks from Seleka rebels from the embattled Central African Republic. Meantime, a young girl at PK14 here in the economic capital Douala is yet to recover from the shock received at the weekend from the hands of some security officials. The military men are reported to have held her into custody on the grounds of indecent dressing. For Hansen Chanji has the details of the report.
This girl, whose identity is withheld, is in upset. She didn't go to school Monday, as she is yet to recover from the shock received at the weekend, where a military officer stopped her a few meters from her home at PK14 in the Douala 3 municipality for dressing poorly, according to him. The girl revealed that the military officer and his colleague were in a nearby filling station. As they saw her passing by, they asked her to stop, then later ordered her into a taxi. The men in uniform, according to them, the girl was poorly dressed. This is the dress she wore on that fateful day. An orange gown, slightly at the knee level. When she was temporarily kept in custody in the taxi, the girl's brother was alerted. When he came, he was intimidated by the military men who shot live bullets at him that hit the ground. This man, who came to rescue the girl, received punches from the men, who also used the edge of their gun to hit his stomach. As the people were thrown in confusion and quarrel, two fake men appeared as lieutenants and asked that the girl's family provide money to buy another bullet to the military men. The girl's sister had to call 113, where the military commander of PK14 was alerted. Upon arrival, the two presumed lieutenants were unmasked and taken to custody. But nothing has been done to the military men who initiated the action as they continued work Sunday. The people of PK14 have denounced the activities of military men in the area, whom they say are corrupt and have taken laws into their hands. They harass girls, seize items and demand money. Since the recent outing of 4 ministers on dressing of young girls, bodyguards, security guards, military men, administrative officials have taken laws into their hands, harassing young girls on street on grounds that they are poorly dressed. This putting Cameroon in a state of lawlessness.
For Hansen Chanji, ending the report, and it's coming in the wake of an outing, as he rightly said, of 4 government ministers in the country denouncing indecent dressing in the country. We remain in the Douala 3 municipality. This time around, we talk about some traders at the PK14 market in the Douala 3 municipality that are demanding the construction of market sheds by local authorities. The traders have gone for over a month without a permanent site to carry out their day-to-day activities. For Hansen Chanji, the following report looks at the day-to-day deals of the traders. His report.
Some traders at the PK14 market in the Douala 3 municipality are angry. They want the market master to give them this festive period as a period of grace, where they could displace their items on the roadside for sale. These are category of traders who don't have shelves in the market. Many of them told us that the market master woke up one morning and started rehabilitating the market without notifying them. pushing the metas away from the roadside. They are also demanding that all traders be provided stores. However, they are not united. Those who have stores are of the opinion that others should be patient rather than displacing goods on roadside that prevent buyers from entering the market to look for alternative goods, thus slowing their rate of turnover. According to the market master, the move to drive away all the traders along the road is to fulfill the promise by officials to fight against urban disorder. The market master said traders at Peka Katos Market are fond of displacing goods in an anarchical manner on pavements meant for vehicles and pedestrians. He said the work to increase the number of stores in the market will soon be over.
Let's talk about yet another measure to restore order in the north region of the country. Forces of law and order in that part of Cameroon have waged a war against car and motorbike riders who ply roads without the use of their documents. The operation, according to the forces of law and order, is to maintain peace and security, especially during this festive period. Jacques Ekwekinge has more on that story.
For close to a month now, the forces of law and order in the North region have been multiplying regular road controls along some major axes in the North regional capital of Garoua. This operation, which is taking place under the watchful eyes of the regional delegate for public security, Tanefo Victor, is aimed at fighting against public disorder and also to assure security and peace of the population of the North region during these end-of-year festivities. The police and the elements of the Garoua Urban Council are carrying out systematic control of car documents, driver's license, car insurance, and the SEMAC number plate. Strict disciplinary sanctions have been promised on defaulters.
When the vehicle do not comply, we have to take it to pound them in the municipal foyer there until they go and pay their papers.
The operation has been very effective since the launching, with many impounded cars and motorbikes. But for how long will the operation last?
We have about 200 motorbikes that have been impounded and about 50 vehicles that the municipal said. I said the operation will continue to the end of the year, or as long as people comply to the measures that have been put in place. They are out here for their own safety. They have to make all their papers so that they circulate well.
With this operation, the population of Garoua, the chief town of the North region, are sure to spend a peaceful and secure end-of-year festivity.
We take you back to Yaoundé, where disabled persons have been offered Christmas gift by personnel of the Yaoundé Center for Persons with Disabilities. And it should be noted that many of the recipients expressed their joy, as Roland Akwan, Yaoundé-based press correspondent, tells us in the following report.
Persons with disabilities are offered Christmas gift by the management of the National Rehabilitation Center in Yaoundé.
We have to help them so that they can easily insert themselves in our society through scholarship to study and through medical care, physiotherapy, and such as appareillage.
This lady considers this tricycle as a manna from heaven. She says it is going to ease movement for her two disabled twins. A special laptop for the blind was offered to these university students. And this student reading political science at the master level in the University of Yaoundé too says the gift is going to ease his studies.
Merry Christmas!
The lighting of the Christmas tree and the sharing of Christmas gift to children with disabilities also carried some meanings.
We have Christmas tree today, so that through the manifestation of today, we have to create into the heart of children with disabilities that some joys and hope that they can, such as Jesus Christ, to overcome their disabilities in their situation.
The annual event this year saw the absence of the board chair and the director of the National Rehabilitation Center.
And in news out of our national boundaries, the federal judge in the United States of America last Monday ruled the government's gathering of phone calls or phone records in America was unconstitutional. And it should be noted that the ruling has raised serious doubts over the National Security Agency counter-terrorism program. Franz Van Kat has the details of the report.
Clayman versus Obama in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, and a ruling against the National Security Agency, the NSA. Judge Richard Leon says its phone data snooping is probably illegal. He doubts the NSA's claim that its mass surveillance is necessary to prevent terrorism. In one swipe, he says, the government does not cite a single case in which analysis of the NSA's bulk metadata collection actually stopped an imminent terrorist attack. He said the NSA's collection of metadata was arbitrary and indiscriminate, the technology almost Orwellian. A blow then to the NSA and to President Obama. Good news for Edward Snowden. He immediately issued a statement saying that he acted on his belief that the NSA's mass surveillance programs would not withstand a constitutional challenge. The judge's decision is an initial ruling. It is now likely to go to appeal and all the way to the Supreme Court. The U.S. government has restated its position that NSA surveillance is constitutional. An intelligence gathering review is underway.
We are looking at the entire system and evaluating it through the lens of whether we are doing everything that we can and should in order to protect Americans and protect the United States and our allies, or are we doing more than that? Are we doing things just because we can, because we have the tools and capabilities to do that?
Despite reassurances, the Obama administration has a major battle on its hands to convince people, not just in the United States, but worldwide, that people's privacy is not being compromised.
And in sports, football matches of the SEMA Cup semi-final matches or semi-finals have been set up, with Cameroon to play against the Central African Republic. That is going to be at Bitam. And Congo would take on Gabon in Franceville, leading to a conclusion of the entire tournament on Saturday, December 21st, 2013. Let's look at the stakes of the two encounters with our reporter Ambe Fokwa.
Gabon and Cameroon have reached the semi-finals of the ongoing 2013 SEMAC Cup underway in Bitam in Franceville. The hosts secured their place at the next stage courtesy of a 2-1 win over neighbors Equatorial Guinea in the ultimate Group A match on Sunday, December 15th in Franceville. A brace from veteran striker Daniel Cousin ensured Le Panthers maintained their winning streak at the regional tournament, with Thierry Fejeux netting a consolation for the Nzalang National. It was a successive defeat for the Equatorial Guineans after a 1-2 loss to Cameroon in the previous fixture. Gabon finished on 6 points and will be joined by Cameroon with 3 points at the semi-finals, while pointless Equatorial Guinea is out of the competition. In Group B, Congo lost to the Central African Republic on Monday, December 16th in Bitam. In the climb to the semi-finals, both sides recorded lone goal victories over Chad to send the latter crushing out of the tournament. The Central African Republic will go on to challenge Cameroon before the week closes in Bitam, with Congo to play Gabon in Franceville in matches set for the semi-finals. The 8th edition of the CEMAC Cup, organized by the Central African Football Federations Union, UNIFAC, which features only local-based footballers for members of the zonal union and also provides a platform to unearth talents, ends on Saturday, December 21st. Meanwhile, Gabon and Congo are using the tournament to gauge their preparation for next year's Orange African Nations Cup in South Africa. Gabon will face Burundi, DR Congo, and Mauritania in Group D, while Congo battles Ethiopia, Ghana, and Libya in Group C.
And that brings us to the end of this segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. By yesterday, Cameroon was already counting over close to 700 Cameroonians that have been deported from the Central African Republic as a result of the crisis, instability that is ongoing in the embattled country or government of Michel Dutudia. And in this newscast tonight, we have as guest one of the deported Cameroonians from the Central African Republic. We thank you so much, Mr. George Mbu, for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Welcome, madam.
We just wish to begin by asking you, how was your experience in the country of Michel Dutudia?
Well, I can say it has been a very terrible and horrifying experience while in the Central African Republic, because while I was there was a lot of tension, a lot of panic when the war started, which made it very, very difficult for us to do our normal activities while in the Central African Republic.
So where were you when it started?
Well, actually, I was mobile. Sometimes I go outskirts of the town to do my activities when it started in one village called Bugura. It all happened when the rebels, so far called the Anti-Balaka guys, came to one village, caught some Bororo guys, tied the guy, took the guy to the bush, tied the guy and killed the guy.
Is it the entire CRU that is affected, or there are some areas that are most hit by the crisis?
Well, the entire country is affected, but there are certain areas that the situation is worse than other areas.
So which are some of these areas that are most affected?
Well, we have areas in town, in Bangui particularly, like Saint-Kilo, Bekadous, and then some other areas outskirts from the town.
Where there's a lot of insecurity.
Exactly.
So how does it happen? Who is attacking who, and how does it unfold?
Well, actually, the crisis in the Central African Republic is a bit complicated. Well, I think it all started when the former president brought rebels to the country to take over power. Now, these rebels that came from different parts of Africa, like Mali, Sudan, Chad, and other parts, got themselves settled down in the country, and they didn't have means of livelihood. So now, when the system in place couldn't take care of these rebels, they had to overthrow the government. Now, when they overthrew the government, now there was a lot of insecurity in the country. Like, these rebels started attacking the civilians, going into villages, killing people, taking things from people, stealing, just to look for means to survive.
So is there a special treatment that was given to foreigners, or both residents of the Central African Republic, whether Cameroonians or even people from Guinea? They are given the same treatment. They don't care whether somebody comes from a different country. All of them, they suffer the crisis at the same rate. Is that the situation there?
It's a pitiful situation, because these rebels, they don't need to know whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian. The only difference between the Muslim issue and the Christian issue is that they find refuge with the Muslims. Now, being a foreigner, all what they need from you is take your money, take your food, terrify you, and sometimes if you're unlucky, they might even kill you.
For how long have you been there, and how is your coming back to Cameroon going to be affected? How is it going to be affected?
Well, I've been in the Central African Republic for over a month doing my activities. Well, it has affected my activities so much because the terrifying situation there in the country makes it very difficult for investors or foreigners to get into the country.
So it has affected your business. You will not be able to carry out your activities anymore. Were you there with your family?
No, I'm a Cameroonian residing here in Cameroon, where I have a Central African partner that sometimes I used to go meet him for us to do our activities. So I think for future projects, my Central African partner will always be the one to do these activities for me.
Should security or stability return to the Central African Republic, would you love to go there?
Well, I think in the future, because it's a very promising and prospective country. The only thing for now
How
is...
How promising?
Well, because the land is still, I can say, virgin land, and there's a lot of things to be done in the country. So I think maybe for future reasons or future purposes, I think is going to be a nice ground for business.
The way you look at Central African Republic now, do you see the crisis coming to an end anytime soon?
For now, I don't think so, because this tribal conflict between the Muslim and the Christians, it's very intense. So much work needs to be done in order to bring a peaceful resolution between these two parties.
For you, there's going to be no solution anytime soon. And now that you are back in the country, are there some special treatments that are given to you, those that were deported from the Central African Republic back to Cameroon, or they just brought you back to the country to seek your own, or to make your own ends meet single-handedly?
Well, I think for the dispositive that the government did was the government tried everything possible to bring back the Cameroonians that were stranded, who were living in the ambassador's residence in Central Africa, back to the country. I think for now, that was all what the government could do, because the government wanted to secure its citizens first and not take care of their expenses. So
the government wanted to secure the citizens, and many more are still in the Central African Republic. Are you worried for them?
Well, I worry so much because I, for example, I moved like for 3 hours before reaching the ambassador's residence to get refuge. So many Cameroonians are out there living in the fields, living in the villages, trying to look for help to come out, but there's no possibility, because once you come out, these rebels are everywhere. They keep terrifying.
And the government has done its best. Is it enough?
Well, I think I thank the government, because the efforts that the government has done is really much. I think we have to be very grateful for what the government has done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbo for joining us tonight on Talking Point. And to our viewers, we thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Good evening to you once again, and have a wonderful stay in the company of our programs.
Thank you very much, madam.